Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time. And that whenever and wherever you happen to be on this crazy ass planet that we're living on, that you are able to step back from all of the information that's being put out there, and you're able to tap into your higher self and see the higher truth of everything. And some of these things I'm about to talk to, I've touched upon in the past few days, maybe even in the past week or two, but it's absolutely crazy, some of the stuff that is being reported in the news, things that are coming up and presenting themselves in the form of petitions that I've signed. All of them I've signed. And even in the spiritual community, I mean, the things in the spiritual community lately have been absolutely freaking bizarre. There's always the people saying, look at the Schumann Resonance, that means that we are in the fifth dimension, or we're about to go into the fifth dimension, and then they're quoting disclosurenews.it. Love them, great website, but the numbers from that website are always super, super low compared to what's going on in literally every other part of the world. You know, it's like when I go to Heart Mouth, there's always 4 numbers that are like usually double what the Italian website is. And that website is so confusing that half the people out there say, well, in Russia, this is what the Schumann Resonance is, because it's on Tomsk time, or UTC time, which is in Tomsk, Russia. So people always think, oh, it's, or maybe that's even the Ukraine. See, I'm confused about even that. But people are always like, oh, well, it's, you know, the Schumann Resonance in Russia. So, of course, that's for the whole world. And then other people say, well, that's in Italy. But hardly anyone says Italy. They always assume it's like Ukraine because it's in that time zone. But I don't even know when this happened, but UTC suddenly became the end-all be-all time zone to the planet that we compare everything to. You know, so it's like minus 5 hours UTC or plus 5 hours UTC. And it used to be Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. It used to be the thing that everybody, it was like the gold standard of time. I don't know. It's so stupid. It's so, all of it's so freaking arbitrary. You know, it doesn't mean we're not hurtling through space at however many millions of miles an hour, going through various parts of the universe with our whole solar system. I mean, it's also arbitrary. And so people are always like talking about that, like, oh yeah, this is definitely proof something's happening. Oh my gosh. And today I saw a comparison clip of today, last month on the same day, and the month before on the same day. Look, it's all the same. That means there's a pattern, there's something happening. And every single shape of the white out part of the chart was completely different from all the others. And I'm like, what? And this is someone I had told 3 or 4 times, look, you got to look at the heart map also, and she says, well, their website hasn't been working in 2.5 years, so I don't go there. I'm like, well, I've been reporting on it every day when it is working for 2 years, so I mean, it doesn't really, that doesn't gel. Like, you just have to learn how to use their website, which is also very complicated. I don't know why these websites with scientific news is, on the Schumann Resonance, they're always so complicated. So there's always those kinds of posts like, ooh, look, ooh wee, it was 40 today. I felt it. I was so tired. It's like, but over in Lithuania or Alberta, Canada, or Honolulu, or literally anywhere else, it was double or triple that. So that's always been one of my beefs when I've seen all these people overreact to, like, the Schumann Resonance news from the Italian website, and then also say it's from Russia. It's like, it's confusing, and we're all going through this crazy, confusing time anyway. So, we're all confused lately, and I say lately, meaning the last 3 or 4 years. Whether you're awake or not at the time, look back on all the confusion. Like, it's like nuts how much there's been. And, it's just, we're trying to keep our heads above water. We're swimming like crazy, with our heads above water, trying to figure out what the hell is actually going on. There's all these people that have been, and this is weird, like the conservative people, like Republicans, I mean, from my original country, saying things like, well, it's Melania Trump's birthday, it's like back when it's her birthday, and look, she's so beautiful, she's a Pleiadian princess. So it's like they're saying weird spiritual things, or talking about spiritual groups, supposedly spiritual groups. We don't really know always. I mean, I would love to believe that the Pleiadians have, 100% the best intentions in helping us. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't really know either way. I hope it's true. When I've channeled Michael Shirhan of Ashtar Command, I hope that that's absolutely real, that what he's telling me, what I'm relaying to you guys is real. It's like I always keep a little bit of that skepticism, the shadow of a doubt. And it's not a shadow, part of your personality to have doubts. It's called being cautious, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like kind of been freaking me out, some of these things I've seen. I can't unfollow some of these people fast enough. Most of those people at the Melania thing I didn't follow. They're just like, if you write hashtag Pleiadian and go look at all the things, you'll see what I mean. It's like crazy. It's like, here's Melania and she's so wonderful, she's so great, and here's Donald Trump and he's a Pleiadian and he's here to change the world. It's like into a giant Cheeto ball of racism, adding fuel to the fire. What? Like, I don't get why. That's if he's the epitome of Pleiadians, we don't freaking want him here. Go back to your home planet. Bye bye, Felicia. We don't need that. We just don't. It's like people are singing his praises, but then saying he's a Pleiadian and he's spiritual, and it's like, whoa, they're taking our narrative and flipping it on us. And I'm like, are all Pleiadians so racist that they separate children from their parents at the border and allow dozens of people to die, just, and or giving the order for it? I mean, he's such a selfish dickbag that, if that's how they are, then screw him. even the ones I've channeled. Like, it's gotten to that point in me that I'm just like, I don't even know what to believe. And even though I believe still that at least the Pleiadian I've been channeling is good, but then there's all these spiritual people that are not conservatives, but they're just, I don't know what the hell they're channeling. Saying that they have an agenda and they're negative, and that the agenda is really bad, so they're putting out a bad narrative or a good narrative to hide the fact that they're really gonna do something bad to us. And then there's Cryon saying that the Pleiadians have been here for thousands of years, helping us. I mean, they built Easter Island in Chile, and all the things that they've claimed, and also what Cryon is saying, and everything that Cryon is, the group, it's a group that's channeled by Lee Carroll, and they've been around since the 80s. And so I tend to believe them more than anyone else, because they are, everything that they've ever predicted has always been right. But then you have these other people, they're talking about spiritual things. They'll have one or two spiritual hashtags on Instagram, and then all of a sudden they're talking about insane things like George Soros, who's this very evil, racist jerk. I mean, have you seen this guy? It's like, he does not look like he's long for this world. Like, he looks like he's on his way out. If you ever look at a picture of him, he does not look healthy. He's definitely not mentally healthy. I mean, he's feeling fire. He wants, like, a race war to happen, so I guess he could feed his ego and say, hey, look, I was right, that was going to happen. But he's like this eccentric billionaire, maybe. I don't know his financial status, but I mean, he's a millionaire or a billionaire. He's got some kind of power on the planet, supposedly, or people think he does. He has no fucking power over me. His life, my life have nothing to do with each other than the fact that we all are one. And he's like, I don't know what, an insane and sleeping part of myself, I suppose, if I was going to look at it from a giant perspective like that. But there was this meme saying that he's invited all protesters to go spend the night at his house. And there's a picture of his house, which is, I don't know what, it's like this mansion compound, and then there's like an address, and the person who put that there, who put that up on Instagram, puts hashtags like MAGA, Trump supporters, and he was putting out information of a spiritual nature, and then all of a sudden it was someone I was following, and then out of nowhere he had like 3 or 4 things in a row like this, and it's like, is that a joke so that protesters will go to his house? Is it a joke because he's trying to start a race war, and he's excited by the riots? And some say that he's put people out on those front lines in the peaceful marches to start something. And it's all so crazy. It's like, and then Jerry Sargent came out on YouTube yesterday with this video about how he's confused by his own message, like about how crazy it is, because it's so confusing. And I'm feeling the same way, just even putting my message right now out like this. It's all such a crazy, confusing, chaotic time. I start talking about it at the end of the show last night. The chaos and pandemonium is just it's off the damn charts. in my life a little bit has changed since last night, as far as I was finally able to get hot water up to the 3rd floor. It had been like about 10 days. I couldn't take a shower in my bathroom because I couldn't wash my hair. It was like, I mean, the last time, besides today, that I was in the shower, every day I take a, rinse off quick shower, but it's always been cold, and I haven't been able to actually wash my hair with conditioner and everything. Except for today, and the last time I washed my hair was just, I rinsed it off and it turned ice cold, and I'm like, I can't, it's so cold outside here for some reason that we can't really, it's just, I can't, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to just have wet hair that's cold from being cold and being out in the cold and not having that warmth, like when you take a shower, it's like a creature of comfort, just having that warmth on your body so you can warm up and your muscles feel good. And it's been 10 days, and finally today I was able to do that. I was like, oh, thank God, I was able to have enough water pressure to spark the heater, which it's like an on-demand. You're supposed to have hot water constantly. It was one major feature as to why I wanted to live here. Instead of, I was in an apartment building before that there was like a big water tank for the whole 5-story building. And when the water ran out, you're just SOL, pal. Sorry. And you gotta wait until there's more water in the tank. It was ridiculous. It was like a normal house size, like the United States. Imagine the biggest house size, for like a family of 6 or something. But when there's like 5 stories worth of people and 10 people per story, it's like 50 people sharing like a 6-person tank, It was ridiculous. But anyway, so some of the stuff has gotten a little bit better, and then some of the stuff has gotten more confusing, and that's part of it. Like, sometimes I just like to scroll through, the stuff, like what's going on in the world, and look on YouTube and everything, and it's just all so confusing and weird. And then there's these people that talk about they're channeling this being or that being, and they make up, it seems like they're making up a name that no one's ever heard. No one ever has been channeling these beings anywhere else. Only this one person has the information. To me, sounds more like schizophrenics. Schizophrenic people tend to make up their own world, their own inner world that nobody, like everything, nothing can be contradicted at all because it's their world and only they know it, and there's no conflicting information anywhere else. So, I've seen a couple of posts that seem to me like maybe they're schizophrenic people trying to join the conversation of the greater spiritual ascension, which is all well and good and cute, I suppose. Good for them, more power to them, but I think that it muddies the waters and confuses things more. And if they're not schizophrenic, I don't know what the hell, like, maybe they're channeling demons, maybe they're channeling their own subconscious mind, and they think they're channeling. They're not really channeling, they're just channeling their own hopes and or fears. But there's this whole Nessara, Jessara thing, which, near as I could tell, is pretty much the same damn thing. But it's something about a financial reset. And so people are like, oh, well, we won't have any money in circulation for 15 days. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. And they keep putting this stuff out there, like, about, and I'm not following these people, mind you. It's like when I look up certain hashtags and here they are. And it's like, what? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, you know, like this person or that person, and then they'll couple that with this one weird, like, Coolie Coast or whatever. They'll make up a fucking name, and they'll say, oh, this person he has spoken. You know, some rando from some other fucking planet in supposedly a giant spaceship that no one else can see but this one person, and saying they have spoken and they're going to shut down our planet for 15 days, and all of a sudden all the money everywhere is going to be replaced with their money or some other form of what. And I never really paid attention to those things too closely, but when I read it the other day, it's just left a weird, I can't even say, you know, that phrase, that's left a bad taste in my mouth, like I don't think it's true or whatever. I look at that and it just left a fuzzy, moldy confusion on my brain. I mean, it's like, what? I don't think any of, and I feel like all these people are trying to muddy the waters in the spiritual community or even in the spiritual realms, you know. And then there's all these people going, well, there's a war, there's a race riot, there's a race war, there's a war between the spiritual this and the, you know, spiritual that, and there's the factions and the cabal and all that crap. Like, it was around for a while, and then it kind of seemed to go away, and then all of a sudden now lately it's come back up. All of these talks of us versus them. It's hysterical. It's funny because there's only us. There's only one thing. You know, we all are one. And I'm not saying that aliens don't exist, but I mean, we all are one with the Andromedans. We all are one with the Pleiadians, you know, good or bad or indifferent or, you know, insanely narcissistic, like the president. If he is you know, see, one person came out saying that he was a Pleiadian, and that was Cosmic Empress. And she said in another incarnation, he was from the Pleiades. And she thinks he might be originally Pleiadian, but she's not sure. And she said that he lived there and he was like the president or something and in charge. And that's what he likes because he's so pompous and full of himself. And I think that a few people ran with that idea. Now they're like calling him like the prince, and he came on a spaceship. And it's like, what the fuck are these people on? Like, what the hell are they on? I mean, is this when you do too much Molly? I've never done Molly. I don't, is that what that is? Like, meth? Does meth make you this crazy? Like, what the fuck are they on? What are they on about, and what are they taking? And somebody get their own medicine for them, stat. You know, there's good and bad in every bunch. No matter what the bunch is, you know. I even read this really long-ass message on one of these posts. I don't know if it was Tyrese or if it was Alyssa Milano. It was one of those two. This man wrote this long-ass post about being raised purposely to become a racist. And they use quotes from the Bible to teach their people to be racist. And he had this long thing saying, look, I am trying to not be a racist anymore, but I know I'm still racist. That's what he said. And he said, I don't want to be this. I was raised from a very young boy to be this way. And he talked about all the Bible quotes that people would always say in his particular church, in this weird church in Southern California. And when he's talking, I'm like, well, he must be from the South or something, you know, living in a Confederate state, right? And it turns out he's from California, and I just about choked, right? I was like, what? It doesn't make any sense. But in the 80s, I guess there was a church in California preaching racism. And he said that he was raised to believe that he should be absolutely scared out of his mind when he's near a black person. And he said that he would lament the fact that he found black women beautiful, and he would be like sexually attracted to black women, and then he would go home and cry himself to sleep about it and repent and ask God to forgive him. It's like, what the hell? Like, where do all these crazy ass separate beliefs come from? The beliefs of separation are so deep, man. That's so 3D. That's so 3D. There's a war in heaven and it's going on right now, and it's this group against that group, and they told me through my channeling. It's like, who the fuck are these people? And what is this war, this space war going above our planet right now? What the hell are they talking about? I mean, you guys know me. I've been channeling for 18 months, all these different ET groups. Not one of them ever said there's a war or there's a commander who's the king, or like people that talk like that. I think they're confused in a really bad way. They drank some bad Kool-Aid along the way or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's all just been disheartening for me. I've just been feeling very discouraged about, like people put out spiritual things, and then people put out these other things with the same spiritual hashtag. So how are we supposed to find anything, right? And, the whole, there's going to be a race riot and a race war bullshit. Like, no, what's going on in reality world is that black people have been mistreated for 400 years. Someone actually said a quote from the Bible that it was a prophecy that Daniel or someone was told back in the early, like the first Testament, the Old Testament, saying that your people in the future will be brought to an alien land and will be forced to live as slaves. And a lot of the Bibles changed the word to servant, which to literally whitewash the racism in the Bible, and in the prediction of the Bible. And so I guess I looked it up, and it's true. It does say this, but some of the Bibles say slaves and some say servants, and it's even the Bible itself is freaking confusing. There's 265,000 versions of the Bible, and as many churches that believe their own version of the Bible. And it's so stupid. And this guy, or somebody, I don't even remember who now, put this quote out saying this is crazy, isn't it? That someone had just found that quote. I'm like, oh my God. And it's been 400 years. It's like, it's been more than 400 years. They said that once it starts, it'll be 400 years. And this is the breaking point. This has been 400 years of that. And said that that your people will be oppressed and made as slaves in a foreign land for 400 years. And we're now at the end of that. So whoever said that prophecy was pretty accurate back in the day, 3,000 years or God knows when ago, 2,300 years ago. Who the hell knows when it was really written? Most of the Hebrew versions of the Bible are Hebrew versions of the Babylonian versions, which God knows, maybe they're versions of some other thing. People just, I like to say they frickin' culturally misappropriated from others, but other people are a lot more generous, and they say, well, they borrowed it. They borrowed the story. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Babylonian turned into Noah and his ark in the Hebrew version. Same damn story. Just a few extra details different, missing, or changed. And then now people are talking about Adam and Eve and how they were the first man and woman. That was another thing that started going around today. And I'm like, we all are one race. There is only one race because Adam and Eve. And then you start thinking about that, and it's like, really? We're a planet of inbred motherfuckers, really? Really? I don't really, that's insane. That's even more, no wonder we're so screwed up. And so I said something on one of these things, and this person said, can you prove it? Where's the Bible quote that proves that Adam and Eve were not the only humans on the planet at that time? So it took me about 10 minutes, and I put the quote that said that Cain went out and found his wife in the land of Nod, which is just east of Eden. Where all the other frickin' people were. Because we're not all inbred motherfuckers. We're actually, and who knows? Are we all descendants of Adam and Eve? Who the hell knows? And then there was, when I was studying in one of the mystery schools with Paul Foster Case, Builders of the Atom, he was saying in his lessons, he was long since deceased after when I started the lessons. He had been around for a long time, and he studied with Aleister Crowley in the Order of the Golden Dawn, and his higher guidance gave him different information that was a lot less dark. It was actually more positive, although he had some racist statements in his crap too. It's like everything is so muddy, and it's going back from day one. Adam and Eve had 2 kids and one killed the other. Where the hell are the people coming from? It's like got to be more of a metaphor or genetic modification from aliens, And someone else pointed out something in the Bible, today I noticed. They said, how come Adam and Eve could see God, but everybody else saw a burning bush or a light or a fire? Why were they, why were their eyes genetically modified? Was, God just thought it was a bad idea to have anyone see him after that? None of this makes sense. None of the stuff, none of the information I heard or read today, just none of it made sense to me. Hell's bells. Maybe I'm having a stroke. Maybe it all makes sense to you, but it's what the hell is going on? What I know to be true from my perspective, at least, and we all have a different perspective, and that's okay, because that's why we're all individuals and unique. But from my perspective, there is no damn war over our planet, this alien versus that alien, to see who's going to take over the planet. And from my perspective, maybe I'm wrong on this, there's not going to be a financial reset during the coronavirus lockdown, which has incidentally been happening for almost 90 freaking days, and there's not been a financial reset yet. And people are already starting to open up and go back to normal. Whatever the hell that looks like. And people are like, oh, it's never going to be the same. It will never be the same. Well, technically no 2 days are ever the same. Since day one till now. But it will never be the same. Our lives are changed forever. Really? Because people are starting to go back to work. They're still working on the subway. What changed? They had a few months off. We all got a summer vacation in the springtime. But nothing's really, I don't see a whole lot that's changed. The only real changes I've seen is coming out of these protests. Thank you, God, for that. Where, and people are like, there's still people going, we all are one race. We're all one human. All lives matter. It's like, no, you need to stop with that stuff right now. You have to understand that, until all lives don't matter, until all Black lives matter. That's what we need to focus on. We need to make things better for Black people. In every possible way. And then we will focus on Native Americans and Latinos and Asians. And then when everyone feels equal in the eyes of the law, treated equally by police, if we even friggin' have police. It just seems to me like we don't even really we could all police ourselves, I mean, really, police to me, the reason we have police force, in my opinion, is just to fuck up people's days. Yeah, some people speed, but usually everything turns out okay. But getting a speeding ticket, that sucks. Yeah, some people do drugs. It's their own body. Leave them the hell alone. Instead of having police be assholes about it and judgmental about it, why can't we take all that money from the police, divert it to programs in which, when the person's doing the drugs, don't want to do the drugs anymore, and if they're addicted, they could go to the programs that will help them get off that on their own time, in their own way. Period. Why do we need police for that? There's only very few things that we need police for. Catching serial killers, that comes to mind. After that, I don't know. Maybe to help people by calling an ambulance, but, I could call an ambulance, you could call an ambulance. Don't really need police for that. I mean, I might come out of all this shit looking like a libertarian more than ever, I might just start voting libertarian and screw it all. But, but really though, the police in several cities have been defunded, or at least some mayors have paid lip service to that idea, that they plan on doing it, that they want to do it. We haven't seen any real changes yet. A few statues have been toppled. That's a start. It's just, this is such a weird time in history. It's such a weird time. And, I notice there's a macrocosm, the microcosm, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. And there's still confusion in my life on a day-to-day basis. Which means there must be confusion outside in everyone else's lives too. We're all connected. I don't know. I hope you guys are able to get through these muddied waters and make your way to the shore soon. Seriously, I don't even know what this message is about. Honestly, it's just other than I'm just pointing out what's going on, at least from my perspective. Just be careful. Use your discernment. Use your, the sense God gave a goose, For real, though. I don't see the aliens coming down to reset our finances. I don't see an eccentric billionaire shutting down the world to change our finances. We've been in quarantine for 90 fucking days, and nothing has changed a bit. Nothing has changed financially at all. The U.S. government said they were going to give everyone $1,200. I didn't see mine. They singled out 17-year-olds of all bizarre things. So if you're a parent and you have a 16-year-old or lower in age, you get $500. If you have a 17-year-old, you get nothing. If you have an 18-year-old, your 18-year-old gets $1,200. So why are 17-year-olds not considered like at all? Let's single out all 17-year-olds. Like they can have a job in quarantine when no one else can. What the hell's going on there? That's a weird oversight. Or direct sight. I didn't get my stimulus check. I was supposed to, and I didn't. I went on the government website and they said anybody getting paid survivors benefits, such as cop wives, which I was a prison guard wife. My husband was retired when we met, or in the middle of it. But I have that money to raise the kids until they're 18, which ends in like a couple months. Really could use the $1,200, but they didn't give it to me. Is it because my son is 17? So I, as a mother of a 17-year-old, don't get paid? I mean, there's some really insane things with that, right? And now they're saying we're not going to stimulate the economy with these other stimulus things we thought we were going to do. The Republicans are dragging their feet, saying they don't want to. So they're going to have a war on their hands from people not having a job, not being able to work. There's going to be a civil war on top of the racial problems with the Black Lives Matter movement, which I stand behind 100%. I don't know, guys. I'm going to try to unravel some of the mystery with a tarot card reading tonight. I have my cards out, but I haven't picked them yet. I'm not going to pick them on the air because it takes too long. So I'm going to just, pick them out and then start recording and let you know what my impressions are. I'm going to channel Prime Creator while touching the cards and see what's what. It's kind of just a visual aid for me. But see if that matches anything else you guys are getting, the messages. You got to trust your own gut. Trust your own heart. Listen to your head, but trust your gut and your heart more than anything. There's more neuron cells in your heart than anywhere else. More than in your brain. Your heart thinks more than your brain in some ways. It's emotional thinking. If you read these things and you're just like, what the flock are you talking about? What are you on about? It doesn't make any sense, a lot of this stuff to me. I mean, I don't even know if we want or do we need a financial reset? I don't know. They'll erase all the debt and suddenly every property, like if you own a house, you won't own it anymore? Is that what they mean by reset? Like communism? Are they meaning that if you have $200,000 in the bank, suddenly it's worth jack shit? Take it out of the bank and, wallpaper your walls with it because it's nothing anymore? And then replacing it with what? A different kind of money? It's the same freaking thing all over again. I think it's all BS. And if they were going to reset it during the quarantine, they're taking their damn sweet time about it. And then there's these people saying, oh, the big wave is coming, we're going to have energy, and everyone's going to feel so much love and light. And it's just going to be sudden, and there won't be any negative emotions anymore. And I think that one of the messages I channeled, that was the message as well. I don't see that happening yet. I felt it a few times, and then this has kind of slipped away. It's like putting cheap shoe polish on a pair of 20-year-old shoes. It's going to wear off with the first rain or the first use. It just seems like it's just like it's veneer, and it could flake off at any moment. It just feels like that to me. And I'm sorry for being negative about it, but I will believe it when I see it in this case. My biggest moments of feeling joy, peace, harmony, and happiness come from, petting the dogs that come over, or having interaction with the spirits around me, like the fairy folk, who I just love. Looking out the window at nature, going outside in nature. But I don't know, the whole cosmic thing, I don't know. The ascension symptoms are just continuing. It's been freaking years. So I don't know. I'm feeling discouraged. And I better stop. It is what it is. And I just want you guys to use your discernment and unravel the confusion for yourself if you do get confused. I'm going to go over to spaceweather.com and drop that subject for a moment. The solar wind speed right now is 453.9 kilometers per second. So quite a bit more from yesterday. Now, this is fun news. We still have that sunspot, AR2765. They say new cycle sunspot. It's the same as was there yesterday. It's kind of in the lower middle of the sun now. But check it out. A dark filament, magnetic filament, bisecting the sunspot has erupted at 1800 UT time. No, which I think is UTC. Why leave off the C, dude? NOAA analysis are examining the event to see if it has hurled any material towards Earth, and they will let us know with updates. But basically, it was an explosion on the sun. So great. There's been record cold in the mesosphere. I'm not going to read this whole article, but that's why we're getting the noctilucent, noctilucent clouds, I suppose. I don't even know how to pronounce the word, but which are those weird glowing clouds on the horizon. But they're seeing them now over London, all over the world, in fact, with these crazy clouds, because it's so cold. So that's another weird thing. Why is the mesosphere so cold? Record cold. What does that mean? And then when I look over here, this thermosphere that we say, the thermosphere is cold as well. It's always cold. I've never seen it hot. I guess it was hot back in 1957. So that's like crazy, right? So let's see where we're at. The coronal hole. I mean, there's like one in the north and one in the south part of the sun. And the northern coronal hole, sent out a bunch of solar wind. And it will be here on Friday and Saturday. So there's a lot more cosmic radiation coming our way. At least the solar wind stuff. And our cosmic radiation, our ULU neutron counts went up by 0.1%. So we're at 10.3%, very high levels. And let's see here. There were 13 fireballs reported by NASA's All-Sky Fireball Network. They exploded over 13 number of death card exploded over the United States today. So there's that. As far as the Schumann Resonance from coming out of Italy today, there was a 40 early on and then a 62 hertz frequency. So just barely in the fifth dimension, which is starting at 40 hertz frequency, supposedly. But this one's interesting. HeartMath.org, they report for 6 places. Eventually they're going to report for 12. They're working on it. Oh, God. Yeah, I was just like yawning like crazy. I wasn't in the right mood or headspace for like hours and hours tonight. And I tried to lay down. I took a nap. And it's just like this overwhelming sense of craziness, confusion, depression. And I was happy all day long, and then absolutely just discouraged and disheartened and depressed. All of the D's. If I was going to grade my mood, it would be a D- right now. Not complete fail, but D-. California. Now, this is 2 days ago. So Sunday, Schumann Resonance report. So this is, of course, if you want to go to heartmath.org, you can look this up. You have to go on 7 days and then stretch it out and go way over to the right, and you'll see it. But California was on at 2300 hour, so almost on Monday. So it's almost like yesterday on the 7th of June. So California was at 111 hertz frequency. Hopef, Saudi Arabia was at 0 hertz frequency. So they went back to the mat, I guess. And Lithuania was at 419 hertz frequency. 419. So don't let any of these weird posts school you. Ooh, it's 60. I totally felt it. Dude, you felt it because it was 419 in Lithuania. That's Schumann Resonance in Lithuania. And if you're in the United States, that's every bit as close as Italy. You know? You probably felt California, which was 111, over Italy, which was 60, you know? Anyway, I'm sorry, just... People know about the science, they're pointed out that the other science exists, and then they still ignore it and do their own thing. And another problem with the world, I suppose. We all do our own thing, and everyone else be damned, I suppose. Anyway, 419, that's huge. That was in Lithuania. Now in Alberta, Canada, they're at 197 hertz frequency. That was Sunday. 197, that's huge also. In Northland, New Zealand, they were at 59 hertz frequency. Low for New Zealand. And last but not least, we have Hululu, South Africa. They were at 181, so that's huge. 181. All right. So we're going to go now to A Course in Miracles, which is found at acim.org. That is the website for the Foundation for Inner Peace. And we are on lesson 308. And here it is. This instant is the only time there is. I'll put my glasses on. Hold on. Okay. This instant is the only time there is. I have conceived of time in such a way that I defeat my aim. If I elect to reach past time to timelessness, I must change my perception of what time is for. Time's purpose cannot be to keep the past and the future one. The only interval in which I can be saved from time is now. For in this instant has forgiveness come to set me free. The birth of Christ is now, without a past or future. He has come to give his present blessing to the world, restoring it to timelessness and love. And love is ever present here and now. Thanks for this instant, Father. It is now I am redeemed. This instant is the time you have appointed for your Son's release and for salvation of the world in Him. Again, the main idea is this instant is the only time there is. So, there you go. All right. that's it. I'm going to take a quick break, guys. And when I come back, we're going to read some tarot cards. This is going to be a general reading for the collective, just to see what's going on in the midst of all this craziness, confusion, insanity. Maybe this is what's going to wake up the rest of the sleeping ones. I have no idea. But we're going to find out right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, I don't know if you guys felt that or not, but unbelievable. For like 4.5 hours now, we've had massive amounts of energy coming our way again. So, again, I've been having a hard time staying awake. It's 5 a.m. now. So I took a nap. And I swear it took me 40 minutes to get all the cards. When I do tarot cards, I don't just shuffle 3 times and what comes up comes up. I literally just keep shuffling them, and I had Archangel Gabriel pull the cards out for, as a mouthpiece of God, right? That's how I do it. I'll just keep shuffling, not with 2 hands, but one-handed shuffling. No, that doesn't make sense. I have it in one hand, and then, anyway, you guys can figure it out. But I just say, hey, what is this particular thing? Like, for example, the foundation. What is the foundation for the collective right now? And I'll say those words over and over and over again. And the card will hop out of the deck. Basically, it's the angel pulling the card out of the deck, and then I verify, and I use muscle testing. Is this what this card is? Is this what this card is for this position? Is this what is representing us right now? So basically, that's how I do it. Well, usually it takes 10 to 15 minutes to pull 10 cards. Am I concentrating really hard, asking a question, blah, blah, blah. Well, 40 minutes it took to get these cards. Like I couldn't keep my eyes open for like 3-4 hours, and then this, and then it took 40 minutes. Now I'm burning up. This is that hot and cold thing that happens with the cosmic energy. So I had to get an extra blanket from the cupboard, which is, I have this giant fuchsia colored shawl or scarf but it's enormous. It's a perfect meditation scarf. And someone left it behind in a hostel, and I took it because they were long gone. They were like catching a flight to Germany. They're not going to fly back for like a $3 scarf, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to, it's mine now. They left it literally on my bed in the hostel. I used to stay in a 18-bed room with my kids in Lima, Peru, which is where I bought these cards. These are the Tarot of the Andes. So, oh my gosh, now I'm burning up. This scarf is very warm. It's very thin and very warm. It's this beautiful woven thing. Okay. But some of the cards, when I tell you what they are and in what position, and then I tell you what they mean, might not have the meaning that you traditionally would know for that card. And it's because I'm channeling God for each card. I'm like, why did you pick this card for this particular position, basically. And so I will hear his voice, and I will telepathically channel what he says for that card, for that position. So it might mean what the card means sometimes, and sometimes it's not exactly true at the moment. So, all right. Now I'm like getting very, very cold because it gets cold here at night. All right. So for our first position, and I did a tarot, it's called like a Tarot Holy Cross or a Celtic Cross is the spread that I used, by the way. Okay, so the first position is this stance, and this is for everybody. This is a general reading. As they say, take what resonates, and if it doesn't apply, let it fly, basically. If you don't like what it says, or you don't think it's true, you don't feel it's true for you personally, then let it go. But this is supposed to be for pretty much all of us as the awakening collective. All right, so here we go. The very first card that we got is Harmony, Armonía in Spanish. It's 4 of Cups. This is where we are at right now, or at least where we want to be right now, is harmony. That's what we want. That's what we're looking to achieve. If we don't quite have it yet, that's what we're looking to achieve. So okay, Prime Creator, why did you choose this card for this position? 4 of Cups. The greater majority of you have 4 cups filled. The greater majority of you have some sort of or semblance of love in your life. You have shelter and food and clothing, your basic needs met, your love met. Most of you have kind of a satisfaction in what you wish to do with your life. After quarantine, you already have things settled, but what's crossing us is satisfaction. It's the 10 of Cups, which is having even more. And so even though our foundation is that we have everything we need, what's crossing us is that we don't have everything we want. And for some of you, Prime Creator saying, you might have a boyfriend or girlfriend, but you're not satisfied because you think they might not be your twin flames. You're worried about that. And the twin flame thing has gotten hyped up so much. But Really? That's what you always say? Okay. He's gone biblical for a moment. God says, verily I say unto you, that if you meet your twin flame while you're in a relationship, he or she will not break up your relationship. They will allow it to run its course and be a platonic friend. And for some of you, your twin will only be a platonic friend. And for some of you, you're already with your twin flame. You just don't know it yet. You haven't figured it out yet. And some of you don't have you don't have that. And why this is so much about love right now, by the way, guys, is that cups are subconscious mind and love. So cups are always symbols of love. It's a symbol of the heart. So while we might have the bare bones of what we need, we're not getting the greater majority of what we want yet. And that's what's crossing us and keeping us from feeling totally satiated, satisfied. So the Ten of Cups is basically like if we had gotten that cup, then we'd have everything we wanted and our cup filleth over and we have everything we need. But there's still so many more things that we want out of life. And for the collective whole and from a heart and subconscious level, so much of us want equality for everybody. We want Black people to feel safe. We want Black people to feel that equality, So that's one of the desires of the heart that has not been fulfilled, and that's what's crossing us from and keeping us from just enjoying the basics that we have and need. So that's like one example. Another thing is God is telling me that our hearts are not fulfilled in a way that we're fully awakened. We're not fully realized masters yet, and we so badly want to be. That's something that we haven't achieved yet, and we want to. So we're not fully satisfied yet with that. And there was something else. See, now I'm getting cold again. Oh my gosh, this hot cold thing. Hold on a second, guys. All right, so the other thing was that we're not satisfied with the people around us that we love, that we want to go into the fifth dimension with us, right? They're not buying our story. They're not feeling the love of the fifth dimension. They're not in tune with it, and we're upset with that because some of us are worried about our mothers not going with us, or our brothers, or our best friends. They're not waking up and they think we're crazy, or they're not waking up and they're saying, well, good, that spirituality is for you, that's your thing, but I got my own thing. And then they go back to gambling or drugs or alcoholism or whatever, workaholicness, whatever keeps them occupied that isn't to your liking and satisfaction on a heart level. So it's holding you back from fully experiencing the joy and peace of just being who you are on a heart level and accepting the gifts that you have. And when you want extra things, you're never going to be satisfied until you have them. And then even then, you might not be satisfied because then you'll replace those things with other things you want. And in this case, these are matters of the heart. It's not material objects. It's cups. So you're wanting those things to be the people. You want everyone to kind of wake up already, damn it. And we're not satisfied until people wake up. And that's pretty much the same in all the cases, all the things. If everybody woke up and realized how they had been treating Black people, for example, in the Black Lives Matter movement, which is so prominent right now in our collective psyche, if people had been waking up, then they would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was a jackass, and now I can move on and be a true, part of your life, or, contribute to your happiness, or, whatever. It's just those kinds of conversations are not taking place yet. So, all right. What is the foundation for all of the collective right now? This is what we stand upon right now. And this is a great card. We got the star, La Estrella. The star. It is, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, it's 7 stars on the card. That and it symbolizes Pleiades, actually. So it's very interesting. Mentioning Pleiadians in the beginning. So, okay, so what we're standing upon is the star, but we're going to read this in conjunction with the moon card, because what is behind us, what we've left behind, is the moon. And the moon stands for the subconscious, all the things that our shadows side, our shadow selves contain, our subconscious minds contain all of that stuff and the junk. Well, what we left behind is that we've done our inner shadow work. We've done it. We're fine. We did it. Thank God. Most of us are finished with all that. And so that's what we left behind, and that's why we're able. So we left the moon behind so we could stand upon a star. So what our foundation is right now is the star. And she's very reminiscent of the card called Temperance, because she has one foot in the river, she has one knee on the shore. She's balanced between the two things, earth and water. So she's balanced between love and material things. That's our foundation. Which means we are, at least from this card's perspective, this is a major arcana card. And she is pouring water out onto the shore and pouring dirt into the river. She's balancing and harmonizing everything. And she's fully in touch with who she truly is inside. She's in touch with her higher self. So, and she's naked to the universe. In the card, she is naked, which means she's open and vulnerable to whatever comes her way, what the stars bring her. So, and that can mean on any level, from being open and vulnerable to what the stars, meaning astrology, has in mind, as well as what energies are coming to us from our star, the sun. So there's 7 stars in this, and then a bright sun above her head. It's yellow, whereas the other stars are white. So, God, did I interpret that correctly? He says, yes, you did. Anything else you'll add? No. Okay, good. All right, so the next card is what is above us. And a lot of people don't know what this means. It took me a while to figure this one out myself, but what is above us is generally a message from our collective higher self. So we don't have like our higher self and then a collective higher self and then God. We have our higher selves and then God. So this is a message directly from God to us. And then the word on the card is one word: realization. That is a message from our higher self. But the card itself is the 9 of Pentacles. And so 9 is hermit. It relates to the hermit, who as a teacher stands on a mountain with a light in his hand, and while he appears to be single and alone, he's actually showing the way for everybody else. And so this card relates to that card, as well as the Nine of Pentacles. Pentacles are material objects. So we just had two things right in the very center about the heart, and then above us we have the material world, and then at the foundation we've got a balance between the material world and the heart. So the message from God, Nine of Pentacles, is you will soon be having everything that you need. That's what he says directly to me right now. Anything else you want to say about that? He says yes. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead about the Nine of Pentacles. What do you want to tell people? Yes, you'll soon be having every single thing that you need materially. You're going to be able to draw it to you really quickly and rapidly. In time, you're going to be able to have things appear that you need. But right now, you won't be able to do that sort of work yet. But everything that you need is on its way to you. And the reason is you're allowing it. You're accepting it. You're accepting the gifts. You're accepting everything. You accept all material things coming your way without resistance. And so you're going to be able to manifest and materialize anything and everything that you need or want really, really quickly. So you're accepting the gifts from your higher self, and everything's going to work out as a result of that. Is that all? Yes, okay. So the next card is Satisfaction, otherwise known as the Ace of Pentacles. And God is telling me, okay, so this is a new beginning. Pentacle-wise, it's not like a new beginning materially, because you're going to begin in a new dimension. So you're beginning anew and fresh, almost in a whole different form, because once you hit the fifth dimension, you will be transforming your body in various ways. So you'll have everything you need and you'll be satisfied from it, but you're going to really be working on your body in the next 2 to 3 weeks in any way, shape, or form that takes for you. All right. So the next, okay, it's time for the next one. Okay. All right. So I'm cold and sinusy. All right. How we view ourselves as the awakening ones. We're all in this different stages of awakening collectively. And the next card is at the bottom of the staff of the Celtic cross. And this card is symbolizing how we view ourselves. And what card we drew, what card Archangel Gabriel drew from my hand as I was shuffling, is this card called the Page of Swords. And God's going to explain that one now. All right, you ready? Okay. All right, so the Page of Swords means what, God? In this case, the Page of Swords means you are being seen as messengers. The collective that is unawakened sees the awakening ones as messengers, and they see that we are offering them a choice. That's the sword. You could go one way or another. You have to cut. Oh, wow. He's saying that you either have to make the cut or cut them out. Very interesting. Okay. So basically, we are posing the reality of it. It's like if you're not with us, you're against us. And if you're against us, you can't be with us after a certain point. So that's kind of how they're seeing it. But, I'm sorry, that's how we're seeing ourselves. Oh my God. I skipped ahead because this card of how they see us is different. okay, I mean, this is what we are seeing ourselves as doing. We're giving people a choice. We're very, very clearly being a messenger. We're very clearly being that person where we're saying, look, if you don't make the cut, we're going to have to cut you out. You're going to cut yourself out, basically. I'm sorry, I misinterpreted the position. I'm tired and sinusy. So, yeah, so that's it. We're just how we view ourselves is that we're a messenger. We have a sword in our hand. This is Jesus coming back to the world with a sword in his hand. We are channeling that collective Christ consciousness of coming back with the sword in hand. You have to make a decision. It's a double-edged sword. You have two decisions. One, stay asleep and bye-bye. Or two, make the decision to get on the awakening path with us, and then we'll help you. And we'll help everybody, even if they're not awake, but after a point, they're going to have to choose for themselves to cut out, to be gone. A lot of people are going to be leaving the planet one way or the other. So there's that. How the sleeping ones see us as awakening ones. This was an interesting card. It says Dominio. And the card is the Two of Wands. And way we look at ourselves, we're way showers. We are like holding a bright wand, like a torch up, and we're like, hey, this is the way, let's go. And that's how the sleeping ones view us, is that they see us doing that. And I think half the people are believing us, and the other half of the people believe that we are just full of crap. That our message is a deception. It's a lie. It's not true. And I think that it's hard to find anyone these days that thinks we're not in the apocalypse at this point, that we're not at the end of days. It's very hard to find someone who doesn't think that. So a lot of the people who are very conservative, very religious, are going to be thinking that we are the false prophets. And all we're doing is like saying, hey, love God, love yourselves, love everybody else. Be true to yourself. Love everybody. So that you can rise up with us. And what they're hearing is, come and follow us, we're going to take you away from God. It's kind of dumb, but I think this is an accurate interpretation. But this is what I got when I first pulled this card. I'm like, oh, they see that, like the devil is a forked tongue liar, or silver tongue liar. Like he's speaking through us, and they can't listen to us because we're not speaking the truth, even though we are. And even though people have examples in all the holy books of what we're going through and what was talked about. But a lot of people have it in their mind that we're not able to be spiritually advanced, that we have to just bow and worship God constantly with nothing really changing until we get to heaven, where we get our rewards, which, if you're, a good little foot soldier, you get your biscuit in heaven. But that's not what the reality is. So I think that half the people are going, oh yeah, and they're awakening, but half the people are saying, no, we don't believe you. You're not Jesus. You're not the Christ consciousness, even though, yes, we are. We are holding the Christ consciousness to the best of our ability, to the extent at which we can individually, because we are trying to birth a new world here. And the people that are not on board with that are thinking, we're just nuts. We're crazy. We're not dealing with a full deck, and they probably feel sorry for us. But anyway, there's that. Now in the next 3 months, this is our hopes and fears. And it looks like we got a fear coming up in the next 3 months. This is dissolution. Dissolution. This is the 8 of Swords. 8 refers to money, but it also is swords. And this a lot of times will be decision making. I kind of think this is more of a positive card than what normally swords are. But, God, you want to talk about this one? Okay, so in the next 3 months, we're going to be dissolving what's left of the remnants of the 3D world. And it's almost like we're going to be wielding 8 swords. Financial institutions will be exposed. Anything to do with banking that isn't on the up and up will be exposed. He's saying decisions will be made that will result in the dissolving of things we no longer need fully. Like in 3 months, it's going to be done. Whether that be relationships or a relationship with a bank that went sour, or places to live where we're moving on up to a better place to live. 8 means wealth, but 8 swords could mean that we stand to face 8 trials, some of us. And we have to dissolve each one. We need to let go of each one. So is that going to be true for the collective, God? There's 8 trials? He's saying yes. There are 8 trials coming up. We have to pass them all. We have to dissolve them all. So we have a lot of work cut out for us. But in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we've got satisfaction. We're going to be happy with the money thing. But in 3 months, it's going to be 8 different tests, and they are related to swords. Not literal, actual. We're not going to be battling with swords on a field, nothing like that. But the swords are all like decisions we have to make. We have to pass 8 through 8 decisions. And our final outcome in 6 months after we've done all of this work, the final outcome is the 10 of Pentacles, which is incredible. Now, remember, we were unsatisfied. What crosses us is satisfaction of cups of the heart. We were unsatisfied with that. But what we're going to end up being in 6 months is materially satisfied. And I don't know, it says riqueza. I don't know what riqueza means. I have a feeling it means like requited love. Not unrequited, but requited, meaning we'll get everything we need. But because it's Pentacles, we'll be able to afford everything we need. Or everything we need will be affordable. Could look at it one way or the other. 10 is related to the Wheel of Fortune. So there's added luck to this card. So a message from our higher self is the 9 of Pentacles, realization. But our final outcome is the 10 of Cups. 10 of Pentacles. I'm looking right at it. So for the message from our higher self right now, a 9 of Pentacles. But we're going to go up 1 materially. And what do you consider going up 1 materially? To me, that's from the 3-dimensional world to the 5th-dimensional world. We're going up materially by 1. We're going up 1 level. So in 6 months, the greater majority of us, I think, will be in the 5th dimension. Is that right, God? And I'm getting a yes. Confirmation. Is there anything else you want to add to that? He says no. There it is. there's a reading for today. So let's get down to the numbers. We have 2 swords. We have 3 pentacles. We have 2 cups, 1 wand, and 2 major arcana. So that's for the final statistics of what's going on. Anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. And I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, just like always. And that's it. Remember to mark your calendars for the 1st of July, which is coming up rapidly. I will be up for a People's Choice Award for podcasts, of course. And if you think I deserve it, you want to vote for me, just mark your calendar for July 1st. And I'll tell you when we get closer to that date. The voting will be open from the 1st through the 31st of July. So there you have it. That's it. I'm going to bed. So I hope you guys are okay. I love you very, very much. If you've been out there protesting and you're exhausted, take a day off. You could go back out tomorrow. You know, don't knock yourself out. Don't make yourself sick and lower your immune system during a global pandemic still and crisis of this terrible virus that's taken, over 110,000 people's lives over in the U.S. So be cautious, wear a mask. I'm happy to see most of the videos I've seen, everyone's wearing a mask and social distancing for the most part. So, there you have it. I love you guys. Just take care of yourselves. Be careful. Be cautious. In every possible way. And remember, if you are a protester and you do get arrested, there are some bailout funds available. I don't know the resources of it, but you can look it up now and keep the number with you, just in case. So anyway, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you guys listening to the show, putting your faith in me, and sticking by me for all of these episodes. I know a lot of you have been listening since practically the beginning, and some of you caught up, listened halfway through the first season and caught up with everything, and then finally you're caught up now and you're listening every day, such as Jude, and he is a listener supporter of the show, so thank you, Jude. I think I did say it before, but saying it again. There you have it. Hopefully I'll have internet up and running next week where I could look at my email in case you guys have sent anything to metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. I haven't been able for a month to check my email. So hang tight. I eventually will get back to you on that. Anyway, that's it, guys. For right now, I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibrations of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.